Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com, and in today's episode of the 10-Minute Gardener we're doing an update on our tomatoes growing in a quad grow, why we spray them, and one or two little jobs we have to do to get the maximum tomatoes from these plants. If you're not already subscribed to me at Learn How to Garden, there's a link directly above this film. Click on that link, it'll take you to the website, input your email address, and I can let you know every time I upload a new film and also give you my free monthly newsletter. I'm in my mum Betty's 10-minute greenhouse. For those of you who haven't seen before, it's 6 feet by 8 feet, and the reason we grow in a quad grow and we grow chilies in a chili grow and we use this little hydroponic planter is to maximise the space in this tiny growing area. And the tomatoes are doing fantastically well. And one of the great things about a quad grow is it'll stop one of the main problems with tomatoes, which is blossom end rot, and that's because they get fed evenly. One of the things that you have to remember though, it doesn't cure all the problems. Tomatoes are one of the worst for getting a disease called blight, potato and tomato blight. And the reason these tomatoes are looking bright, sort of bluey purple on their leaves, is they've been sprayed with Bordeaux mixture. Bordeaux mixture is a copper sulfate fungicide. It's okay, it's been passed by the Organic Soil Association, and it just stops the spores of the blight being able to settle on the leaves and cause damage. But it doesn't cause any problems to the growing of the plants, and you can see that by looking at this plant here. The tomatoes are already developing wonderfully. Now, I've had a couple of comments saying that the feed dosage I recommend for the quad grow is now different to what Greenhouse Sensations recommend, and that's absolutely right. Greenhouse Sensations have found that you can double the type of feed and you may get a bigger crop. For me, I have always fed weekly, which means I've always fed all my tomatoes with a very weak feed on a weekly basis. And I also have found that growing with the original recommendation gave me incredibly tasty tomatoes. So to be brutally honest, I'll probably be sticking to the original dosage, but you can use the new dosage, which is twice as strong, but it also means you might get even more plants. Talking about even more plants, if we look up here, we are already at the top of the greenhouse. Don't panic, and for goodness sake, don't pinch out this growing tip. What we're going to do is we're going to take another cane from here right to the top, and we're just going to bend that tomato over, and it's going to grow up the inside of the roof. And the reason we're going to use a cane is when it grows along here, we're going to have to support it onto that cane so that when the tomatoes get heavy, it just doesn't snap the plant off falling down. And while we're talking about snapping things off, if you've not grown tomatoes before, in the axis of this plant here you can see what we call a side shoot growing, and that needs just to be snapped off. You're better to snap it off than cut it off, because by snapping it off you're not having any possibility whatsoever of transferring any disease spores into there by using secateurs or a knife that could already have them on. I'm really pleased with the growth of these. If you wonder why this one's shorter, this is actually a bush variety, so don't think he's got one that looks shorter, because in our comparison test in our grow pots we've actually got the same shorter one here. At the moment the quad grow is still producing much stronger plants, much earlier to fruit. There's only 1 or 2 small fruit coming on the ones next to them, so I'd say we're probably a week to 10 days ahead in the quad grow, and I do believe that's because of that ability to access moisture and feed on a continual basis. So make sure you spray, make sure you side shoot, make sure you keep this topped up, don't let it run totally out before you top it up. Top up the reservoir probably every 2 or 3 days if you're at home. And when we do our next update, which I suspect will be in a couple of weeks, that'll be showing you how to pick fresh tomatoes. We won't be showing you how to pick, everybody knows how to pick tomatoes, don't they? Probably be showing you how many tomatoes we've got and how to eat them. Thanks for watching Learn How to Garden. I hope you're enjoying it. Leave a positive comment if you are. If there's anything you want to know, please leave a question and I'll try to answer it.